Essentially, my theory of coaching handstands is to get your handstand efficient as possible. So when you're holding your handstand, it's effortless, so you're not having to strain to hold. Just like if we max hold a straight hold, like standing, you wouldn't bend your knees or arch your back and try to hold it as long as possible. And the alignment and working on mobility and the obsession of the different alignment drills that we're going to do. Okay, so let's get into our warm-up.
Lea, nice to meet you.
How's your handstand?
Mine?
Yeah.
Should be good. We'll soon find out. It's not going to be as good as hers.
And lock your core in so your spine is strong and long, and extend. Out here, when the tendency, especially if you're strong, is to just move with your chest and keep your shoulder closed. So really focus on opening, warming up the shoulder, really stretching out as far as you can without twisting your torso. So we're trying to reach that end range of motion, and the tendency is to let it dip in. We have to keep extending it out, keeping it locked in as you go back and forth. Keep your core braced. Focusing on locking in the wrist and then pressing up. Keep this arm out overhead. If it goes here, this arm helps you stabilize a lot. We want the stabilization to come through the shoulder, your wrist. So keep the shoulder by your ear so it's out of the way. Press up. Take this knee down to help stabilize you so we can focus on pressing through the shoulder. From there, if that feels comfortable, you can continue to try to get your hips to the ground, and then you can even try to get your chest to the ground. Keep your eye on the kettlebell, helps stabilize. If as soon as you take it away, it gets more difficult to hold. And then press through the shoulder, work back.
Yeah? You want to change places with Renato?
No.
The band on your knees and come up. I want you to already be thinking about your handstand alignment. So we're going to tuck the pelvis, think about retroversion, tuck the ribs, keep them tight, and then with one hand, extend the band up. As soon as your arm goes overhead, the compensation is going to want to happen through your ribs or your lower lumbar spine. So think about keeping your core braced. Think about like the top of your ribs, compressing your core there. We compress the core in at the same time. Back and forth. Nice. Again, make sure your elbows stay locked out, so we're also getting that shoulder on the ground, as low to the ground as possible. And in the soft spot of your wrist, it's where you're going to place the band. You don't need, you have a lot of small ligaments and small joints in your muscle, so you don't need a really intense stretch. Just enough that it pulls your wrist back and down, pulls on the joint. From there, a couple options with the hand. You can place it on the top, or you can increase the pressure a little bit and place it behind. We're not trying to suffocate your hand, we're just pulling it down. I'm sure most of you have done this with your ankle, putting it on the tibia, or the talus, excuse me. The direction, you lean your shoulders. You can lean in towards your thumb, towards your middle finger, slightly out to your pinky, just to get a little bit more motion and range of motion throughout your wrist. And little variations there. Just work through 10 reps each side. Let's go into, I do want to articulate the shoulder, so we're going to do these called spine push-ups. So in our handstand, we want to focus on the compression in our shoulders and start being able to isolate where your shoulders are. So I want you to break this down into 3 separate moves. The first is think about compressing through your shoulders. We're not doing a cat-cow, so we're not arching our lower back. We're actually trying to keep our spine straight and as neutral as possible. So you deep press, let your shoulder blades pinch. Then the second is we're flattening the spine, so you're pressing out. We're not rounding our spine. We're trying to straighten our spine as much as possible. And then lengthen the back of your neck, so we're not dropping it down. We're trying to be straight and parallel to the ground. And pull your chin in. Give yourself as many double chins as you can. Pull it in, lengthen the spine. Think about flat, neutral spine. Then the third, you're gonna relax your spine, let your chin go back to normal, and press up through the shoulders, rounding and protracting. Then we drop back down.
Positioning and body awareness. I think that's the thing, like when you start CrossFit when you're like, 24, 25, and then you haven't been upside down before that. It's just like learning how to control your body as well when you're upside down. But yeah, body control and awareness and mobility.
How does it feel to teach the pros?
The body awareness is amazing.
Yeah, true.
So what I want to get into now is shoulder isolation. When people do handstands, the most common thing that happens is they're wiggling all around, they're shaking, and you're not going to be as efficient with your handstands and your kick-ups, your holds, if you're trying to do some crazy moves without your shoulders. So we want to work on protracting and isolating the shoulder movement, strengthening it in that position with different drills. So when we kick up into our handstands, we can push up, isolate the shoulders, and lock in place, and not be doing these crazy funky waves in our handstands that take a lot more energy for us to restabilize and hold. So we're going to use the back of this rower, and I just want you guys to take turns so you can also watch your partner go, coach them through, see if they deep press through the shoulders, watch, and then just switch back and forth. But fairly simple, but I really want the focus through pressing up through the shoulders. And I also want you on the tops of your feet. You're going to press up, pull your toes in, go up into as much of a pike as possible, keep pressing through the shoulders, compress in, go out, but we're not going out so far that you deep press through your shoulders. I'm staying up here where my shoulders are glued in place. They're not moving, just my feet. So I don't want your shoulders moving back and forth at all. Press up, they should line up just over your knuckles and freeze there. Spread out your entire palms. Not even so low, just focus, really press up. And gaze just between your thumbs. That helps keep your balance when you keep your gaze right between your thumbs. If you look back, it gets harder to balance. If you look too far forward, it collapses your spine. Okay.
It's always like with handstand, so much tension in the core, these perfect positions. We have to work on that for sure, but I always get reminded when we do stuff like this with a pro, as she is, so it's good, sure. When she show the movement, I'm like, first tuck your knees, then straight legs, bring your hip above.
When you're trying to hold your balance in your handstand, if your gaze drops here, that's a whole other level of difficulty of handstand balancing. Super difficult to hold that. You want to gaze between your hands the whole time, but you don't want to go past your fingertips. You want to be able to keep your head as neutral as possible while still maintaining the focus point on the ground. If you try to look past, like where your fingertips are, or your head juts out too far, look what happens to my shoulders. I can't press up as much, versus if I'm here, I can activate the bigger muscles in your back, your rhomboids, your rear delt, and you can push. Versus if you go out, immediately your shoulders want to collapse and you don't have as much push through your shoulders. One more time, think about the gaze, and then at the top of the rep, I want you to press up through your shoulders, pull your ribs in, and try to get your hips over your hands so your feet become really light on the rower seat, almost as if you're about to press off. But I don't want you to bend your elbows, collapse your shoulders, or try to press off. I really just want you to focus on the isolation and that push happening so much so, and your hips getting over and your core compressing, that your feet maybe hover or just are just light on the seat. So just do it one more time, really focusing on that.
I give a little bit the same as you. I give gymnastics seminars, so I teach a little bit the same. So have to say I'm better at teaching it than doing it myself. So it's nice having her once correcting me, like in the warm up, like showing like normally it's the other way around. So it's really nice having her like, Lea, you know, it's really good like that. Yeah,
having a look at those details.
Yeah, exactly. I do counterbalance. That's why it's like I shift shoulders over a little bit, so legs get counterweight and then it gets over. But you have to keep pressing through the shoulders that this happens. So press through and lean over and then it gets up.
The ideal handstand is being able to press up through the shoulders so much so that our back locks in place, and then being able to compress our ribs in. Those two opposing forces happening at the same time is what secures a handstand. And how people can hold their handstands forever is that right there. It's the same strength that we need for the handstand press. When you press through the shoulders so much and then you can compress the core in, that lifts your feet off the ground. It all comes down to your shoulder strength, capacity, and having the mobility to get into that range of motion. So the next drill, I really like this drill to feel. It's a really great lat stretch, which is all CrossFitters, they're all going to be tight with how strong the lats are. So this is a really nice lat stretch. It forces your shoulders to stay open. At the same time, it's going to compress your core in. Jacqueline, you know this drill well. The placement of the block can vary a little bit. You want it underneath your shoulder blades. If it's too low, I do not want it below like your rib cage. I don't want it getting into your lower back. It needs to stay somewhere around your shoulders. If you have it too far low and this feels super easy, then you can move it slightly higher so it's just targeting your shoulders, and you'll need more compression and shoulder mobility to do it. From there, we'll bring both knees in as tight as possible, compress, we're keeping the shoulders open, and then you're just extending as far as you can. Keep as tight of a tuck as possible. Go down, you don't have to touch the ground again, and then pull back up. You should feel a really deep lat stretch and the core compression strength at the same time.
We improve.
Yeah, no?
I can't do this before. Now it's much better. I want to thank Chris for this. He gives me a mobility, and I try something like this with Jacqueline. He helps me a lot. He gives me some exercise, and I work with this at home.
So you feel more prepared for this kind of stuff?
Yes.
That's very good.
I want you to do a check mark. First, where are my wrists? Where are my hands? They're underneath my shoulders. They're not out here. They're not too close. Where I line that first. Then, okay, I'm going to set my shoulders just like you want your shoulders almost as if they're going to drift towards your knuckles. So it takes the weight of your handstand from the base of your hand into your full hand. So you can press into your knuckles and press into your fingers. That little shift in your shoulders should make your feet light on the wall. Then I want you to think about that press through the shoulders, compress the core in, pelvis in retroversion. And we're going to do a small split on the wall so we can start to hover off the wall. So to demonstrate this, So first, I'm looking at my wrists. I set my wrists, press through my shoulders, lean my shoulders where they should be over my hands. So now I feel the weight in my fingertips, and my feet are light on the wall already. Then tuck my pelvis, press through the shoulders, small split. As I press, lean into my shoulders to hover my foot off the wall. Now, biggest thing that happens is people want to throw their leg out here and that throws into a big arch. So we're trying to keep the foot over our body as much as possible and just gently hover off the wall. You're trying to control, and breathe. You're trying to control the handstand, so you hover off the wall for a couple seconds and then you can come back. Reset, hover off the wall, and then come back. We're trying to build up to being able to do that for 3 times for 5-second holds. One last note. Feel the weight transfer in your palms. The biggest mistake that people do when they do wall handstands is that all of their weight is on the wall and their weight is in the heel of their hand. That does not transfer to your freestanding handstand. If you only practice your handstands with your weight in the heel of your hand, you need to lean your shoulders over your knuckles so your weight transfers into your full palm and your fingertips are pressing into the ground. And you have the shoulder capacity to even correct the overlap.
Yeah, I managed that now.
Yeah.
You can tell the practice on her, no?
She's cheating. She's had private sessions.
Yeah, just cheating.
I think I've been working with Jacqueline now for 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. This is like
Which improvements have you seen?
just the better alignment and just balancing. Like I'm a lot better at like holding in a good position now. It's not like before it was like 100% just
Shaking.
Yeah.
And pushing the TV closer, and then you're a little bit of a...
Now my weight is in my palm and on my finger. And I have to transfer a little bit of water.
your legs,
I don't think I can go that narrow.
Yeah, that's it.
Very good, Marti. Ooh. There you see your work, no?
Yes, beautiful.
Sounds like night and day. Post jack. Yeah. It is. It's just learning that tilt.
Yeah. But this helps, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Massively.
For example, she's so stacked, you know?
Yeah. She just goes into the position so naturally.
But this is the same, but just like knowing how to do it. Yeah, same.
Right before we go on to the semi-finals for it. And go. Like, hold on 1 second. Lock. Tilt. No, other way.
Okay, wait a second, Judge. I'm just...
Not ready. I haven't set my hips yet.
Me first.
I don't want to help you, okay? So just do it.
Line, full risen.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. And you? Okay.
Really good mobility.
No rep.
Feel the weight in your hands.
Feet together.
Up. Good.
Press together.
Really good. I will just help with the shoulder push. Solid. This is really good. There's like very slight tightness in your lats I can see, but your pelvis, everything is still super in line, so it's not really affecting you much. It's really good. Shoulders. It's all your shoulders. We can talk about the alignment, we can talk about squeezing our core, squeezing our butt, but that's not going to hold your handstand. It's your shoulders all the way. As soon as your shoulders collapse, that's when the rest of your body caves in. Everything else breaks down. We need to be able to press through the shoulders and maintain our stability there. That's why I emphasized the wall drill, gaining the control and the capacity to control your hand, peeling your handstand off just by using your wrists and building that capacity. Using the wall so you can keep your form aligned and practice that new alignment that's foreign to most people. The safety route is to, especially for strong guys, when the safety route is to be here in like bench press zone, where you can see it's safe, here, this is all of a sudden foreign, but this is where you're stable, this is where you can be efficient in your handstand. So again, that's why I really emphasize the wall drills, building that stability, locking your core in place so you can control your handstand with just your feet, basically your wrists, and your shoulders have the capacity to stay locked out and stay static. Yeah, any last questions before I'm already past time.
Thank you.
Very important.